I've got some other interesting fun facts that are coming up here. But what I wanted to point out with the whole Peterson, the way Peterson wept. The problem I have with all of that, the problem I have with Peterson is not necessarily a personal problem or anything like that, because people are going to say, well, you're professionally jealous. Let's just get that out of the way right now. I am not professionally jealous. But trust me, at this stage, I am most definitely not jealous of Jordan Peterson. But that, of course, is going to be the first thing out of anybody's mouth. So let me head you off at the pass in the comments, because well, you guys are very respectful in the chat. But let me head you off at the pass, commenters who want to go and do a drive-by comment here. Peterson, I was critical of Jordan Peterson as far back as 2017 or 2018. As a matter of fact, the first Red Man Group show, remember that show? That long, foggy old show that I used to do back then? That is the very first show we did, actually. I was critical of Jordan Peterson. People ran me up the flagpole. And then you had Vox Day. Vox Day has always been very critical of Jordan Peterson, now more so from a religious perspective, but and then also from, I want to say, kind of from a psychological perspective. But Vox Day has a book out, and it came out in 2018, I believe. It has the foreword was written by Milo Yiannopoulos, so that ought to tell you something about it. It was a book that was very critical of Jordan Peterson, and it was written by Vox Day, and it was called Jordanetics. And I think he's been made aware of it a few times. People being critical of Jordan Peterson is nothing new. Olivia Wilde using him as sort of like the archetype for a villain in one of her movies or whatever. She's just basically, the only reason she's saying that is because she wants to get a rise. It's just advertising. That's all it is. It's marketing. So she can go and say that, and like, whether you know him or you don't, like, oh, really? I'm going to watch. The reason why she's doing that, first of all, she's like this is she an unknown? Would you call Olivia Wilde an unknown? Maybe. But she, as I said in Jedediah Bila's show, we now have permission to hate on incels. We now have permission to hate them, right? They can be the villains. And what the point I was trying to make on Jedediah's show is like, at certain parts in history, at certain points in history, there are races, there are ethnicities, there's nationalities, there are, I guess, social tribes, basically, for lack of a better term. There's certain tribes that are okay to be the villains. So if you've ever watched, Die Hard, the very first Die Hard, and you look at Nakatomi Plaza, right? You're going to see it at Christmas time, trust me. It is a Christmas movie. But the villains are, what weren't they from South Africa or something like that? I want to say, was it Jeremy Irons who was no, it wasn't Jeremy Irons. Who was the main villain? Had the, sort of the British accent, but I guess maybe it was a South African accent, because I don't know the difference. Sorry. But it was okay to hate on them. Or when Rambo was fighting the Russians in Afghanistan with the Afghanistan people who were like, the Mujahideen. And I think it was like the second or the third Rambo movie. I can't remember which one. And it was like, it was okay to hate the Russians because it's the 80s and Reagan's is in the White House, and you've got Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando or Raw Deal. You look at those old movies, and it was okay to hate on certain. They were the villains. You could cast them as the villains. Same thing was true for the Japanese during, wartime. You always made them look like, hey, sinister Japanese, right? Germans, same thing. It was okay. Or, even Chinese, it was like, that Fu Manchu kind of thing. Like, what was it? Flash Gordon. Remember when like Ming the Merciless was like the evil villain in Flash Gordon, and he had that's why how you know what a Fu Manchu is, because it's like, those pathetic earthlings, like that look was there's a nationality associated with that. There's a archetype or a stereotype or essentially it's institutionalized racism. Let's just be honest. Yeah, it was good. You know what? God damn it. You were right. That was you're damn here. Where is it? You're goddamn right, man. Flash Gordon is a classic. I don't care what anybody has to say. So is Kroll, by the way. I'm not getting into that. But the Fu Manchu, it's okay to hate on him. Okay, now Then we move into Back to the Future. Remember Back to the Future? Who were the villains in that? You know, when they were trying to kill the Doc Brown, right? Because he stole the plutonium, or he got the plutonium. Or no, it was the no, he needed a nuclear reaction or something for the flux capacitor, and so he had to go and get it illegally from terrorists. So terrorists were okay to hate. It just depends on where we're at in society at a particular time. That's who gets to be the villain. And so the villains now are incels. And as such, they need an architect. They need a leader. They need a glorious leader. And who's going to be their leader? Who is the king of the incels? I have a question. Every incel has a mother. Are their mothers, are they solipsistic? Yes, they are, because women are solipsistic. Thank you very much for playing.